My name is Virgis Gillum, but most people know me as Brother Sage. And so much of the history of the Northwest Territory, or what they refer to as the St. Joe Valley region, I have family members connected to. And for the last 10 years or so, I've been putting that story together. It's a fascinating story. It's a story not taught about in schools, not talked about, but very important for the understanding of what African American people, or should I say Negro people or colored people, because we've never had one particular title. I like to say proud diasporan African Americans because I'm a proud diasporan African American man. Well, I think it's a shame that when we take a look at history, you never hear anything about African Americans connected to history. You know, people don't realize that Frederick Douglass, who was very popular at that time, was the most photographed person in the 1800s. He was more photographed than Abraham Lincoln, okay, or any other person of note that you may know of. And people need to know how impactful he was. What I'm trying to encourage, or what we're trying to encourage, is the more African Americans get into their history, get into their genealogy, find out where they come from, whether it's down south, where they came from in Africa, how they got here, because if you have knowledge of yourself, then you feel more comfortable about your future. Because no knowledge of yourself is sort of like a tree without roots. This is a poster where slaves were being sold in Indiana back in 1829. And if you notice what's on here, you'll see that there's a man for sale, there's a woman for sale, okay, and that they'll be on the auction block for that particular sale on that particular date. All right? What's interesting about this, just to show you how history is very, very skewed, the people who printed this poster today are known as the South Bend Tribune. Okay? So this just goes to show how rough it was on us, what kinds of things we had to go through, and why it's important for us to talk more about this from the standpoint of whoever you are, whatever particular culture. What this is it shows a lot of people don't realize that the number one region for runaway slaves was in the Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri region. Over 75,000 slaves escaped during that particular region. Okay, most people think it was the East Coast because of Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass in Maryland and Virginia. No, more people were located in the Midwest from the Underground Railroad than they were in the East. Okay, now it's not just limited to this area because you can find routes that go into Mexico, into the Caribbean, up through Alaska, from Louisiana all the way out to California, Oregon, Seattle area. Because we, through the National Park Services, which I happen to be connected to, have found better than 40,000 routes throughout the whole United States and the Western Hemisphere. We know of three strong routes. The one route over in Bristol, the one route from Mattawan that goes into LaPorte into Michigan City, and then there's another route which goes directly into Cass County. These stories need to be told because there are many families that I work with. When we do genealogy, we focus on how they ended up in the Michigan, Indiana area.